Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I believe everything is working properly and we are finally live tonight for a little kickstart of your weekend at the Daytona International Speedway for a little Friday night racing on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 on the channel. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into tonight's live stream. 11 races to go on the NASCAR Cup Series season. I can hear myself in the background. Give me a second. I forgot I had my phone on me. Okay, now we're good to go. I believe everything is up and running perfectly fine. Let me know down in the chat if there's any lagging going on right now. I will try to get to the bottom of it throughout the course of this race. If we have any experiencing issues that go on throughout tonight's 400-miler in the Florida 400 at the Daytona International Speedway, a 2.5-mile super speedway racetrack tonight, our 5th super speedway race of the season. 11 races to go. You can see the points on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Our driver, Greg Biffle, comes in with just a 1-point lead over Dale Earnhardt Jr. And then third in points, Jeff Gordon comes in 176 back after being over 300 points back 4 races ago. He's trying to put on a late-season surge for the quest for his 5th title. Again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into tonight's live stream. Thank you for waiting oh so patiently. We were supposed to get this race started about 45 minutes ago, but I was having some very, very bad lagging issues. I think it's all good to go now. I had to reset my internet like 3 times and basically tried to get connection downstairs and then walk upstairs with the connection. It's still working as of right now. I am not going to mess with it anymore the rest of the night, and hopefully all goes well. Starting on the pole with our driver Greg Biffle, let's get into this race. Test paint scheme for the first time this year for Greg Biffle. He's had terrible luck at Daytona in the Cup Series, and really super speedways in the Cup Series, especially when it comes to Daytona and the Cup Series racing on the EA Sports video game. So Biffle using the test paint scheme for the first time this season as the green flag is in the air. He'll lead the field into turn 1. They're already fanning 2 and 3 wide back behind him. Derek Booth, Historic Cinematics, and Michael Turner, thank you for staying in the chat in the stream down below. And a quick start as they get up to speed on the back straightaway. Menard, who qualified outside of the front row in second, trying to get the outside lane going into turn 3. Dale Jr. right behind him in the third lane. Ryan Newman, Robbie Gordon into the middle, off of turn 4. Lap 1 will be completed this time by contact between Menard and Stewart. And I believe Robbie Gordon got a piece of the action off of turn 4 as they get stacked up. We stay green, and Biffle will lead lap 1. 5 bonus points. That is important. Again, a 1-point lead coming into this race today. And poor Robbie Gordon got shuffled out of line as they were 3 wide for second off of turn number 4. And all 3 of them got together as Menard got squeezed into the wall by Stewart. And Robbie Gordon was the innocent bystander and all that on the inside, and he gets ricocheted backwards. All 3 of them making a great save, though, on that first lap as we continue to stay green. And I believe Ryan Newman was able to drive up to second. Big lead, over half a second at the start-finish line that last time by for Greg Biffle. When the field closes in on him, they will have a gigantic run. Biggie's still at 299. Yes. Or 2999. Yeah. 2,999 hits. I was watching the game yesterday before I went to the concert, and I was really hoping to get to 3,000, but unfortunately tonight's game's postponed as well, so it looks like fans will have to wait until tomorrow. Tony Stewart has battled back to the inside for second place. This time, instead of being 3 wide middle, we'll have the bottom to his own to get around Ryan Newman. A little help from Dale Jr. Stewart is clear for second place. Jr. still sits at 4th. Newman looking for a crossover down to the inside, but Stewart throws the block, then moves back to the outside with help from Dale Jr. as Biffle's led the first 3 laps of tonight's race in the Florida 400. Pack definitely has closed in on Biffle all of a sudden now after he pulled away after lap 1 with all the contact going on with the cars battling for second behind him. Comment in the chat down below how many cautions you think we're going to see in tonight's race. We tend to have a decent amount on the super speedways. Decent meaning about 5 to 8 usually on the super speedway races this season through the first 4. Just going to have to keep this track position as much as possible. And here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to take his second points lead of the season at the end of tonight. Came so close after Biffle finished outside the top 20 in the last race. In fact, finished 40th with a DNF. His third DNF of the season. That took place at the Old Spice Speedway. It was the final fantasy road course racetrack on the season. Still 2 more fantasy tracks left this year, but they're both ovals. And it's the second to last road course race of the year because we still have a trip to Watkins Glen yet. Newman on the outside. Biffle leads that lap. And I think Newman had the run, but then Stewart moved to the bottom, and that broke the momentum up on the outside. And Biffle was able to hold on to the lead. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream as well. That's still insane that you're having triplets. I feel like that's just a really rare thing. Like, twins is rare in its own aspect, even though you might know people that have twins. I mean, I think of my graduating class, I think there was 1 pair of twins, but that's like, you know, 1 in a 75. That class is still fairly rare if you think about it. And then triplets on top of that, that's just... It's almost like hitting the lottery. That's probably, well, I wouldn't go that far, because... I feel like triplets is probably still a little bit more common. At Kenseth, looked to have a run on the outside. Back down in second place behind his teammate Greg Biffle. Making for another car that Dale Jr. is going to have to get around if he's going to want to lead his first lap. Kenseth's in the wall now off of turn 4 as he gets a little tight in that dirty air behind Biffle. Dale Jr. back to second place. And if Biffle wants to lead the most laps he can, he has to hold on to the lead as much as he can and block from the very beginning. Yeah, I maybe could have started the stream. It may have lagged on us, but the way it was... So usually I run at about 2,500 to 2,800 kilobytes per second, and it was running at like 1,600 to 1,800 the entire time. And I just feel like the likelihood of having a lag at some point, you know, during a major lag, which we have every now and then, that's fine if it lasts a couple seconds, or even if it's a couple minutes, like once every now and then, that's fine too. Just saw Biffle lead that lap by about a half a car length over Dale Jr. But anyway, to have it that low, if we were going to have like a major lag spike, I feel like it was going to take a while, and the likelihood of having more than one tonight was going to be very likely. I didn't want that for you guys. You guys deserve the highest quality content possible, so I was hoping to get it resolved before the start of the stream, which I did, luckily. We shouldn't have any issues going forward. Unfortunately, it took an extra 45 minutes, or took delaying the stream 45 minutes before it got fixed. Kenseth back up to second place again, and again Kenseth pops the wall. Junior was on the outside behind him, and Tony Stewart actually got to the bottom. He'll take over second place as Biffle's now led the first 9 laps in tonight's race. And look out for Dale Jr. indeed. And if Junior didn't finish 16th, just imagine he'd probably have the points lead. In fact, all 4 of the top 4 drivers in the point standings finished outside the top 10 in the last race. looking for redemption today at Daytona. That race was last Monday, actually. It was on Monday this last week. And contact off of turn 4. Here comes Junior to the inside. Biffle door slams him. In the tri-ovals, he tries to hold on to the lead. That was an aggressive move. Kenseth got into the wall off turn 4 and battling for third place with Tony Stewart. And after he hit the wall, he bounced into Stewart, stacking up the entire pack from Stewart at 4th place on back. Kenseth was able to drive through. Dale Jr. was on the inside and stayed ahead of it and had a gigantic run on Biffle in the tri-oval. And he probably would have led that last lap if it wasn't for Biffle slamming the door on him. And to do that in the middle of the tri-oval, they were very fortunate that they both didn't wreck. That was an aggressive move on lap 11 for Greg Biffle, but that's how desperately he wants to keep Junior behind him. We know how strong the DEI cars are in this era of NASCAR and the super speedways, and it might be tough to get back around him again. And that time Junior got the wall off turn 4. So 3-car breakaway at the front of the field right now. Kenseth going up the track. Biffle does as well, though. Gets down in front of Junior. Turns himself. What a save. Oh, my goodness. Big time save from Greg Biffle. Car bounced up off of all 4. Down on the inside of the racetrack. Caution ended up coming out because of how sideways he was. But from the transition of the banking down to the flat of the apron and back up onto the banking again, not only saved it, but both Dale Jr. and Kenseth were able to miss him. So it looks like Biffle's going to stay out of the pits here. Oh. My goodness. Doesn't have to pit to repair damage because he was able to save it and not have any damage to repair. Green flag back in the air at lap 16. But now the whole field is packed back into one again, so that's definitely not a caution that Biffle wanted to see, but that was an incredible save. I thought for a second when he was starting to come back up the racetrack that he was just going to get clobbered by either the 8 or the 17, and he didn't. A little damage on the left rear corner panel, but all in all, it looks to be all right. That was Kyle Busch 2012 like. And now they're back to 2 and 3 wide racing in the pack again. Biffle trying to block Ryan Newman and Dale Jr. Jr. to the outside with a run. Kenseth barely kept it off the wall. Jr. is going to get to the line first. Oh, maybe not. Contact in the middle of the tri-oval again. Biffle leads that lap in the grass. Down on the bottom of the track again, he's able to save it. Newman gets to the lead, and back up onto the racetrack he goes again. Way too aggressive of blocking going on for Greg Biffle right now as he's lost a ton of momentum. And Dale Jr. still did not lead that lap. Biffle led it in the grass. Biffle will not be leading this time by, though, and he's back in traffic for the first time today as Ryan Newman will lead his first lap of the night. Junior fell all the way back to, it looks like, 7th place. Greg Biffle trapped in with Jimmy Johnson. And yeah, no sponsor. Using the test car tonight, I needed some change of luck on the super speedways on the Cup Series and the EA Sports game. So, trying something different in this race. We'll see if it'll work. Yeah, if I go on to win this race, that is the save of the season. Especially considering everything that's on the line with the championship and just DNFing in the last race. That would have been terrible. But Biffle may be racing a little too aggressively too early in this one, even though it's only 400 miles instead of 500. Now he gets tight, gets into the wall, and Johnson's going to pull away from him. That would have been anybody outside of Dale Jr. that was trying to go for the lead, Biffle probably wouldn't have been as aggressive with those 2 blocks that he made. Very fortunate that he didn't really get any damage off of either one. He almost lost the draft behind Johnson, but not quite. He still sits behind him with a gigantic run into turn 3. Gives Jimmy a little bump draft. Ariel Diaz, welcome to the stream. Greetings from Brazil. Welcome in. Not sure what time it is over there for you right now, but thanks for staying up late. Junior went to the outside, abandoning his teammate Michael Waltrip. And Biffle's going to get around him for 6th place. All clear off of turn 2. And Biffle's now going to draft with Waltrip, and this will split the DEI cars up a little bit. Biffle going to be aggressive. Again, behind Waltrip, giving him a couple of bump drafts into turn 3. Biffle tight. Almost got into the wall. He had to lift going into the corner. They were carrying a lot of speed. Halfway on fuel at lap 21. That caution definitely helped save a few caution laps. Victory Lane Videos and Productions, welcome to the stream. It's the defending winner of the 2002 Pepsi 400. That Michael Waltrip won that race. I don't know who won 2003. Oh, yeah, Greg Biffle won 2003, my bad. Yeah, Waltrip won 02. Greg Biffle won 2003, so Biffle actually the defending winner of the night race at Daytona. We did have the Pepsi 400 earlier this year because I didn't want the same title sponsor for both night Daytona races. That's why this is actually labeled the Florida 400. Means we already had the Pepsi 400 this year. Before the gigantic run again behind Michael Waltrip. Got to give him a little bump draft into turn 3, and again has to lift, but still gets into the wall. Tony Stewart to the bottom. Stewart gets into Biffle. Contact off of turn 4 again. Stewart sideways. Junior gets into the back of him. They all save it. And Biffle is going to lose Michael Waltrip as a drafting partner. There's a lot of cars getting tight in turns 3 and 4, Biffle included. Tony Stewart got tight that time, and that stacks up the entire pack, and Biffle's got no drafting help now, both in front and behind him. Get out of the Daytona with the points, leave the title is yours. Well, we still have Talladega at the end of the season. It's our final trip to Daytona, but remember, Talladega is the season finale. Biffle's not had great luck. We do have some wild card races left. Watkins Glen is the final road course race of the year. On top of the Talladega race, of course, the finish of this one, and then also a couple more fantasy tracks still remain on the oval side of things. Southern 500 yet to go. At Darlington, the Bristol night race. Still a tough schedule. Second half of the schedule is definitely a lot harder than the first half. And the first half had its challenges, but definitely seen over the last probably half a dozen races, especially that Biffle hasn't quite had the same dominance he had the first 16, 17 races of the year when he was leading in points the entire time. It's going to be tough to get 10 bonus points losing the lead by as far back as he did. He has battled back up to 6th place, but on lap 25, he's about 3.8 seconds off the race lead. Still don't think the cautions are done, though. before Daytona in 2002. So you're talking about 2001 Pepsi 400. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. I actually bought that race-winning diecast in Bristol this last weekend, too. Definitely tell Greg Biffle doesn't quite have the single car speed he had in qualifying, considering he qualified on the pole. Four and a half, 4.6 back. It also doesn't help that Newman does have cars to draft with in front of him. Michael Waltrip's all by himself in 5th, but is a little faster than Biffle at single car pace right now. And I think some of it might be the tires on the 16, as his tires are pretty worn out with having that slide in the middle of 1 and 2, bringing out that first caution, even though he saved it. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Oh, so you're talking about the 2002 Daytona 500? Ward Burton won that race. Daytona 2002 of the 2002 season, who won that race? Yeah, Ward Burton won the Daytona 500 in 2002. The 2002 Pepsi 400 was Michael Waltrip. The smaller group of cars that are starting to catch Greg Biffle again. It's going to be interesting to see if Dale Jr. can get back through traffic. He's nowhere to be found right now after getting stuck behind Stewart after Stewart got tight off of turn 4 about half a dozen laps ago or so. Kurt Busch won the final race of 2002. The road course race before Daytona. I don't know where you're going with this question. I'm trying to help. I feel like you're changing the question on me every time. It doesn't feel like the same question. Are you talking about on this season, or are you... Well, no, you're talking about 2002, so it'd have to be real life. Biffle not even going to go up high and block McMurray off of turn 2. Biffle will hold the bottom for right now. Actually, no, he will move up in front of McMurray, so McMurray can take the bottom into turns 3 and 4, and Biffle can hopefully slide in line behind the 42 car in front of the 29 of Kevin Harvick. And that's not going to happen either, as Harvick gets to the inside, and he'll also get around Greg Biffle. So Biffle back to 8th, 6.8 seconds off the lead. Biffle's pushing Kevin Harvick in that 29 car. Still bump drafted in. Oh, contact sandwich. 3 wide, 4 wide now. Junior to the bottom and gets around them all. Aggressive bump drafting gone wrong in turn 1. As Harvick got catapulted into Jamie McMurray on the outside. More time lost for Greg Biffle. And again, he'll go to the outside into turn 3. Back to 9th. McMurray and Harvick get around him. The race before the night race, the road course. So you're talking about Sonoma in 2002? Robbie Gordon won that race? Sonoma 2002. I don't know if that's right or not. To the outside of Kevin Harvick. Into turn 3. Can't hold it. Harvick to the inside of Jamie McMurray. Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch have worked well together on the super speedways this season. We talk about it seemingly every race, points race or exhibition race this year on the super speedways at Daytona and Talladega. Seem to find each other a lot right now. Biffle is up to 8th, passing Jamie McMurray. Kurt Busch was right behind him, but couldn't follow him underneath McMurray yet. McMurray throws the block on Busch and hangs on in front of him. So Biffle 8.5 seconds off the lead. Ricky Rudd won that race. That was probably going to be my second guess, was Ricky Rudd. I can't remember what years Robbie Gordon won at the road courses. I know he won 2000. Did he sweep him in 03? Did he win both Watkins Glen and Sonoma in 03? Because he has 3 career wins. He won at New Hampshire 1 year, and then he won at Watkins Glen and Sonoma. One of them was in 03. He might have won both races. Everyone Biffle wants to work with keeps going to the outside, and Biffle's just too tight to run up there right now. Might have to make some adjustments during the pit stop. It seems like a lot of drivers are really tight, though. Maybe that's why they're running the middle upper groove, is because they can't run the bottom. Especially on these older tires. Dale Jr. will pit this time by off of turn 4. Somebody else is also on pit road. They might have been blowing an engine, though, because they seem pretty slow for a long period of time. But either way, we have cars pitting at lap 34, our first stop of the day. Robbie Gordon won a Busch race on a road course. I'm sure he did. Biffle giving Harvick a shot into turn 3. Still pushing him. So aggressive to do that. And it didn't work in turn 1. He tried it in turn 3 that time, and it worked all right. Definitely wasn't perfect. Cars side by side coming off of the pit lane down on the bottom of the racetrack. We've seen cautions and hard and vicious accidents with cars getting ran into from behind by lead lap cars coming off of pit road at Daytona and Talladega. Harvick drops to the bottom of the racetrack. Greg Biffle bump drafts him into turn 3 as he goes with Harvick. Biffle going to stay out as long as he can. On fuel, Newman still on the track. Harvick pits. That was Biffle's drafting partner. Gordon won both races in 03. If we had a caution right now, Dale Jr. would be a lap down. That would definitely be the best time for one for Greg Biffle's sake. Biffle going up in front of McMurray. Labonte coming out of the pit lane. Biffle will get in front of him. Biffle trying to pull that car down to the inside behind the 141 car of Ray Parker. And it looks like he is close enough to draft off of Parker. Newman still leads, lap 37. Biffle goes to the inside. Parker left a lot of bottom open. More lap cars coming out of the pits on the inside. Oh, contact. Bobby Labonte might have gotten into the outside wall. He's already made his pit stop. Rusty Wallace, Casey Mears on the bottom. They'll go lap down each. Johnson pulls up in front of McMurray and right behind the 16 of Biffle, middle of the back straightaway. Biffle will stay out this time by, hoping for a caution. Ryan Newman is on his way to pit road. So Newman on his way in. Waltrip's in. McMurray comes in. Johnson's in. Lap 38. Biffle led that lap at the line. And he'll probably end up leading this next one to the line if he is the only car still on the lead lap that hasn't made a stop. Biffle will pit this time by lap 38. Doesn't want to risk it any further. That will be 35 laps of green flag action on this tank of fuel. So again, caution laps were not included into that. Going to try to make up as much time as he can. He's going to lock the tires up as he doesn't want to speed onto pit road. He did not. It'll be right side tires only. And he'll top off on fuel. No adjustments taken right sides only. That should loosen the car up at least a little bit. But locking the tires up is definitely going to be pretty difficult. I'm the projected winner of the Kentucky Derby. I'm a horse? That's news to me. I had to pause it there for a second. I was still taking a drink of water. Biffle is the leader. Taking the right sides only as he pulls up onto the racetrack as the leaders are going to be coming through. And they will slow down for Biffle. It was risky. I wasn't sure if they were going to keep coming in hot or not. Jeff Gordon was coming in hot on the outside, trying to get around about 4 cars to get to the lead in the middle of turns 1 and 2, but it didn't work. And now Biffle has to hold on for dear life as he gets up to speed. So right side tires only, a gambling pit stop for Greg Biffle to get the track position back. It's gambling because Old Daytona obviously very bumpy, as you see with this surface. And into the wall goes Gordon and Biffle. And contact, it looks like, between Kenseth and Gordon in the ricocheting. Biffle just got tight and he stayed in the gas and ran right through Gordon. Biffle's been a wrecking ball in this one. It's not been a clean 40 laps so far. All in all, the car's really not that damaged. Most of the contact he's made, he's saving it. I think he's only hit the wall twice now. That was the second time. His older left side tires definitely going to change the handling of the car. It's going to be a little bit looser, you would think. But he got tight off turn 4 that last lap. Now just trying to hold Newman behind him. Contact with Newman off of turn 4. That was just an aggressive block by Biffle. Biffle's racing Newman for the most laps led right now. They're both pretty close to each other in the laps led category. You couldn't tell there's a lot of pressure on Biffle's shoulders in this race tonight. I think the aggressive driving style, very, very not like Biffle this season. Newman now into the wall off turn 4. It was all on his own that time. $12 likes on the stream right now. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Starting to act like Newman when he races hard. Yeah, unfortunately. Speaking of Newman, there he goes. To the outside. Biffle. Oh, he tried to side draft him and he got into him. And he'll hold on to the lead again, it looks like. I swear to you, it's not like I'm trying to make contact with these guys. I did with Dale Jr. the one time, but I'm not trying to make contact with these guys. I'm just getting so close to them and racing so hard that I'm stepping over the edge, which is definitely my fault. Like right there, I was trying to side draft Newman and the bumps kind of threw me into him a little bit. I have to know that that is a possibility of happening. the old left side tires, there's not as much grip on the 16. Again, here comes Ryan Newman. Didn't succeed that last lap. This time Biffle just falls in line behind him. Matt Kenseth is caught up. That is Biffle's teammate. See if the 16 and the 17 work together. Biffle to the inside of Newman into turn 3. Newman could not block the 16 on the run that time. Newman definitely racing the 16 a lot easier. Kenseth behind Biffle. Newman gets in the wall off turn 4. And Roush Fenway will run 1-2 at the front of the field with Biffle in the lead and Matt Kenseth to second. That was a clean pass by Biffle that time. Great crossover. I don't think Biffle's got the speed that these guys have behind him. The runs are so big. And here comes his teammate Matt Kenseth to take the lead. Only 2 leaders so far have been Biffle and Newman. Into turn 3. Biffle pinched by Kenseth. Biffle lifts to keep it off the 17. If he is going to try to race cleanly now, his teammate would be the best driver to start to do that with. And he did not make contact with him that time. Biffle now back to third as he sits behind Newman in the tri-oval. Our third different leader of the race, Matt Kenseth. Biffle quickly, though, right back into second and has a massive run behind Kenseth in the 17. He gives him a little bump draft in the middle of 3 and 4. Kenseth a little block, but not enough. I have not seen this big of runs from pretty much every car in the field in this game, maybe ever, like we're seeing here tonight at Daytona. Kenseth hard into the wall off 4. Biffle drives away. That's going to give him a little breathing room for about another lap. That's only going to mean the runs will be even bigger than what they have been so far once they get into the draft of Biffle and get close enough behind him. And more drafting help behind Newman is starting to close as well. A couple more cars into the picture. Kenseth gaps Biffle. It also kind of pulls away from the 12 of Ryan Newman behind him. I'm not even eligible to run for president. Don't you have to be like 35 years old or 45, something like that? Biffle leads that lap. That was close to making more contact. Would like to not make contact anymore if he could help it. Dale Jr. has rallied. He is up to third. Biffle can't get the turn in the car into turn 1, and Newman's up to the lead again. Biffle gets down in front of Dale Jr., though. Jr. is coming in the 8 car. He was outside the top 10 at one point. Biffle's been as far back as 10th. And again, Biffle to the lead into 3 on Newman. Holds the outside. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. with help from Jeff Gordon on the bottom. Newman's in the wall off of turn 4. Kenseth gets stacked up on the high side. Jr. to second. Gordon to third. 2 Chevrolets versus the Ford of Biffle out in front. 113 laps to go under the lights in the Florida 400 at Daytona. 11 races to go on the Cup Series side of the NASCAR Chase for the Cup custom schedule season. Season-long points format. The top 3 run 1, 2, 3 on one of the most difficult tracks to win at in this sport. That 8 car's got a lot of speed. If he could just stay out of trouble, he is going to be tough to beat today. And whoever finishes better with a tight points battle between Greg Biffle and Dale Jr. will take over the points lead in this one. Unless Biffle could go on and lead the most laps and Jr. doesn't lead a single lap, then that wouldn't matter. That Biffle can finish 1 spot behind Jr. and still pull away a little bit more in the standings. Gordon's up to second, getting around Jr. in the tri-oval. Thought about throwing a block into turn 1, thought better of it. Gets shuffled to the outside with no help for the meantime, and Jr. looking to pull up to second again. Can't clear Gordon, though, that time. Biffle moves up in front of Gordon, and Jr. now doesn't have that much help on the bottom. And I don't even think he needs it. A car looks extremely strong. Biffle gets a good drive, though, into 3 that time. He can get the turn, and he pulls back down to the bottom as Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a run in the middle of the corner. Now Jr. moves up to the outside to clear Gordon. Jr. gets side drafted heavily by Jeff Gordon, and Gordon pulled him back enough to get back to second on his own. Gordon moves up to the outside, transitioning back and forth. So Jr. looking to the bottom. Gordon throws the block into 1, and now gets shuffled out of line again. He gets tight in the dirty air behind Greg Biffle. And look out. If you look out of the rear view, you have a 5-car pack right now, but there is a much bigger pack coming behind the leaders. Biffle's been aggressive with his block so far. For the most part, it has turned into almost a near catastrophe moment on multiple occasions. Can't afford to keep doing that. He's lucked out twice. And 3 strikes and he may be out if he makes a 3rd bad block. Could cause a big accident. Can't afford another DNF with just a 1-point lead this late in the season. In the points standings, at least with the top 3 on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. There's no points reset after this race today when we hit 10 races to go in the season. It is a season-long points format. And it's a 3-horse race right now for the championship between Greg Biffle, searching his first title in just his 2nd Cup season, Dale Jr. looking for his first title, just his 4th Cup season, and Jeff Gordon searching for his 5th career Nextel Cup Series championship. And they're all in the top 5 right now. And only one of them, though, so far tonight has led laps, and that would be Biffle, who has barely led the most over Ryan Newman. Vondale Ellery, welcome to the stream. 35 for president? Okay. I knew it was 35 or 45. More contact with Jeff Gordon that time. Biffle on the outside. There goes Dale Jr. to the bottom, and Jr. has the lead off of turn 4. That contact between Biffle and Gordon stalled both of them out. That Dale Jr. had a massive run on the inside that Biffle could not block that time. 5 bonus points for Dale Jr. That was big for him to lead that lap. But Biffle has a massive run into turn 1. He gets underneath Dale. Half his car to the apron, and he takes the lead back into turn 1. But the damage may already be done in the sake that Dale Jr. has those 5 bonus points. Now it's 5-5 on bonus points between Biffle and Jr. And it's back to a 1-point lead as they run. Just think if the standings are this tight 10 races from now, when we go to the season finale at Talladega, this could be the race and what it would be like for the championship between 2 and maybe even 3 drivers if Gordon gets back into it. I think that's Elliott Sadler back there in 6th place right now, starting to reel that second group in. And as we get more cars in the pack, the runs will only get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're already big. So again, 1 caution in this race. Haven't had one in almost 40 laps though. On the outside, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. He took the lead on the bottom the last time. He will lead that lap at the line. Greg Biffle is underneath him. Sadler's worked his way up inside the top 4. Jr. has Kenseth behind him, but more cars on the bottom. Now Sadler moves to the outside behind Jr. Jr. gets the run off the banking on the top, and he is clear again. Biffle with help from Elliott Sadler on the outside as Biffle moved up in front of the 38 on the backstretch. Newman trying to pull a block on Jeff Gordon. Didn't quite work. Biffle down to the bottom. He pulls high to block Dale Jr. off of turn 4. He has the lead. And back to the bottom in front of Ryan Newman. The Rocket Man rocketing towards the front of the field with Jeff Gordon behind him. Another lead change. Biffle back out in front again. Junior almost squeezed into the wall by Newman. Slow car middle of the back straightaway right now. Might be the second driver who has blown an engine in tonight's race. Caution is out. Caution's out. It's not the driver with the blown engine either, but it is our second caution of the race at lap 56. After a 40-lap green flag run, a two-car accident off of turn 2 involving rookie Brian Vickers and second-year driver Jamie McMurray. And that looked to be in that second group as well. So McMurray and Vickers get together, bringing out a caution. Biffle will pit this time by at lap 57 under the yellow, and we'll see if anybody else will follow. Yep, here they come. 4 tires and fuel for Greg Biffle this time. He took left sides only during the green flag stop to get him back in the lead, and now it's up to a quick 4-tire stop for his pit crew to try and keep him in the lead. So everybody is coming in for their second stop of the day. NB Racing Family number 11, welcome to the stream. Problems on the front tire changer for Greg Biffle. Look at how lengthy this is. 11 seconds on the right side tires alone. Problems with the air gun. Dale Jr. wins the race off of pit road. An 18-plus second pit stop for Biffle will lose him 5 spots on pit road. Was leading coming in. He'll restart 6. Dale Jr. back in the lead at Daytona for the 3rd different time tonight. Green flag back in the air at Daytona at lap 60. 101 laps to go in the Florida 400. Good launch on the restart for Biffle to quickly get around Sadler. Hops to the bottom of his teammate Kurt Busch now in the 97 car. Biffle gains 2 spots initially on the restart. Harvick up to 2nd after restarting in 3rd. Sadler now underneath the 97 of Kurt Busch. Biffle trying to stay in touch with Jeff Gordon in the 24. Harvick to the inside for the lead. On Dale Earnhardt Jr. into turn 3. Jr. did not take off well in that restart. I almost wonder if that stack up kind of costed not only him the lead off of turn 4, but it looks like second place will go to Jeff Gordon. And side by side to the line, it'll be Kevin Harvick leading his first lap of the day. Gordon looking for 5 bonus points, 3rd in points coming in. He is on the inside, but it's Junior up high with Harvick. Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, they found each other again on another super speedway race this season. They're running 4th and 5th. Biffle trying to be the lead car in this draft. Pulling Busch a little bit into turn 3 though. Biffle got the wall off of turn 4 that time. Gonna let Busch underneath him into the tri-oval. Jeff Gordon to the lead. He led that last lap at the line. Starting to get a lot of different leaders now after that first set of pit stops when only Ryan Newman and Greg Biffle led before the green flag pit stops earlier today. But just before the yellow and now just after the yellow, we've seen a few different leaders now on top of just Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman. Now it's Kurt Busch to 4th. Biffle will draft behind him on the inside into 3 and 4 as he fell in line in 5th in between both Busch and Elliott Sadler's Fords. 3 Chevys, and then 3 Fords right behind him. No Dodges, at least in the top 6. Anywhere to be found right now. McMurray was in the top 10 until he was involved in that last accident with Vickers off of turn 2. Junior in 3rd, going a bit wide. Gordon Harvick on the bottom, pulling away from Junior just a little bit. Greg Biffle going to be aggressive in bump draft. His teammate Kurt Busch on the back straightaway. Giving Busch a couple of shots down the backstretch. You can see how out of shape both cars were, but it's a little bit quicker if you can hang on to it. They stayed in the gas. They held on to it that time. Busch running more of the middle lane through 1 and 2 that time. It's going to separate the 16 and the 97 a bit. Biffle got out of the gas to keep it off of Busch in the middle of the corner. And pull back to him on the backstretch again. Down to the bottom again goes Busch. Biffle's all right with that. They're 1 second off the race lead right now. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles. Oh, caution's out again. Never mind. Caution's out again off of turn 4 this time. Our third of the race and our second in about the last 15 laps. Oh, man. Big crash. The big one at Daytona. 2 cars up and over. The 192 barrel rolls after running in the back of the 176, who was just stalled out. And about an 8-car crash off of turn 4, bringing out another caution. And it looks like everybody will stay out at the front of the field. An 8-car pileup off of turn 4, bringing out our third yellow of the night, the big one. The 176 just kind of came to a stop, or slowed down quite a bit at least. Off of turn 4, he got ran into hard by traffic coming up from behind. I wonder if he blew an engine in front of him or something. That was a terrible crash. Biffle getting another good jump on the restart. Harvick didn't take off well that time. Biffle's up to third, getting around both Kurt Busch and Dale Jr. Sadler to the inside, though, in the 38 car. Here comes Busch. Biffle moves down in front of him and behind Sadler. Jr. on the outside. Kenseth behind him. Biffle just trying to stay with Elliott Sadler. Dale Jr. has clearance, so 3 wide off of turn 4, back behind Biffle. And, oh, Sadler just got in the wall off of turn 4. Casey Kane, the rookie, inside the top 5 for the first time tonight. Gordon leads. .91 laps to go now under the lights at Daytona. Biffle, the gigantic bump draft on Sadler. Both cars getting out of shape on the backstretch. They'll hang on to it into turn 3. Sadler running the top. Biffle gets into the wall. Biffle wants Sadler to run the bottom. Now Sadler moves down to block Biffle. Biffle had a run into turn 1. Jeff Gordon had a great launch on that last restart, unlike Junior, who restarted in the lead, following caution number 2 and winning the race off of pit road. Junior is side by side right now with Dale Jarrett for position. They'd be battling for 6th. Junior looks to be on the outside, Jarrett on the bottom. Still that way into turn 3. Sadler and Biffle have ran down Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Caution again! Our 4th of the race. Caution's starting to breed cautions at this point in the race. And this looks like a debris caution from the 192. So he was involved in that flip during that last caution. His hood has just flown off. And it looks like a few drivers ran over it. Not quite within the window to make it on 2 stops yet. So it looks like Biffle will stay out. And I'm sure the rest of the leaders will stay out as well. So our fourth caution of the day, our third since lap 56. 56 rather. Green flag back in the air. We've seen one big one, two flips in that same big one. Our first debris caution of the night now. And look at Biffle's launch on the restart from fourth place. He gets around both Harvick and Sadler. Now he's underneath Gordon for the lead. Oh, Harvick's in the wall off turn 2. And Biffle gets into Gordon, and Gordon's in the wall. And here comes Elliott Sadler. Sadler's underneath Biffle on the backstretch. What a crazy restart. Harvick got in the wall, then Gordon got in the wall. Biffle got to the lead, but now it's Sadler who restarted third. He's up to first. And he's pulling away into turn number 3. And he's getting a big gap on these guys as Biffle has to hold on for second. Wondering how many laps they're going to get before another caution, though, this time. Sadler's all by himself right now with a giant pack of cars behind him. How about Casey Kane in third, the rookie? Potentially trying to go for his first win. Looks like there's another stack up off turn 4, that there's two gigantic packs now. Biffle down to block Kane for second. Kane to the outside to block Gordon for third. Never won a cup race at Daytona on the EA Sports video games. Went 0 for 4 in NASCAR Thunder 2004. And a NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. So far 0 for 4, making me 0 for 8 total. This is the 9th try at Daytona in the Cup Series on either 04 or 05. Any of the EA Sports video games we've ran on the channel. Biffle trying to finally get a win in one today. And he's got a big run on Elliott Sadler, middle of the back straightaway right now. 196 miles an hour into turn 3. Biffle has pulled to the back bumper. Looks to the inside of Sadler off of turn 4. But can't quite get there. Pulled out of line maybe a little too early. Sadler right now is the 7th different leader in this race. Biffle to the inside. Into turn 1. Sadler will not be able to block that run. And Biffle has the lead in the middle of 1 and 2. Sadler a little loose on the outside. Kane underneath them for second place. Here comes Casey Kane with the charge in the number 9 for Evernham Motorsports. And how about Dale Jarrett in 4th place, who's been quietly good all night long. Still looking for his first Cup win this season. Win in general. He's not in the Busch Series in this game. I realize Sadler pulled clear of Kane before moving to the bottom that time in the backstretch. But then Sadler goes back to the outside. Remember, Sadler and Jarrett are both teammates. Robert Yates Racing. Couple of Fords. Sadler's in the wall off turn 4. Biffle's in the wall off turn 4. Both cars got tight that time. Everybody's been tight off of turn 4 in this race. Even in turn 3 at times. That end of the track maybe even bumpier than 1 and 2. Gordon to the bottom with Harvick. A lot of Chevys seem to be on the inside line right now. Kane has found his way in front of the Yates Fords of Sadler and Jarrett on the outside. Halfway on fuel during this run, we'll have 80 laps to go this time by. We'll officially be halfway home. We've had 4 cautions so far. The most we've had on a super speedway race of the first 4 of them in the Cup Series season is 6. We've had 3 of them since lap 56. Biffle's made it halfway with the lead and has survived the carnage so far. Trying to stay ahead of it again. Gordon nearly squeezes Harvick into the wall. Now he's clear and moves up. Dale Jr. staying in the lead pack. Hasn't led in a little while since that second restart at about lap 60. He's second in line on the bottom behind Elliott Sadler. Sadler to the inside of Jeff Gordon for second place. Dale Jr. stays on the back bumper of the 38. Little room for error most of the way through the top half of the field. We've already seen one big one, 2 flips in that wreck off turn 4, middle of the pack, an 8-car crash. Dale Jr. is up to 3rd. And again, the top 3 run 1, 2, 3. Jr. for second on Gordon. This 8-car will not go away. He falls towards the back, even outside the top 10 on multiple occasions, and he still finds his way back towards the front of the field. And now that's the second half of the race he really wants to get going. He has to throw a block on Sadler on the back straightaway to just try to hold on to second right now. Now he goes up to side draft Jeff Gordon on the outside. It's going to stall both of those cars out. Biffle gets a gap into turn 3. Junior pulls behind the 16 for now. Now he moves to the outside in front of Jeff Gordon. Into the wall. Somebody got in the wall back there. I heard it. I don't know who exactly. Biffle makes a successful block. Kurt Busch is trying to get into the mix again. Sadler runs the 8-car up the track trying to side draft him. Now he moves up in front of the 8 as he's clear. Kurt Busch to the bottom of the track. A little mistake by Biffle. I don't see this ending well anytime soon. This is as tightly packed together as the front pack has been all night long. And they are not separating each other on this slightest restart over about the last 10 laps. And with the runs as big as they have been so far tonight, here comes Gordon. Thought about it, may have gotten out of the gas to let Biffle back in line. Cutting Biffle maybe a little bit of slack. Kurt Busch is in the wall. Off of turn 4. Biffle should have the lead down into turn 1 as he's gapped the pack behind him just a bit. Wasn't a hard lick, it was enough to check everybody up. Hatstras McGee, welcome to the stream. Driving the test car, yep. Looking for new luck. We have not won a cup race at Daytona on the EA Sports video games. We're 0 for 8 coming in. Biffle trying to get the first one here today. Kurt Busch to the outside for the lead right now at lap 86, side by side with the Roush Fenway Racing Fords. Up the track to block Busch. Here comes Gordon to the inside. Gordon gets in. Oh no, there's a big crash off of turn 4. Harvick is around. Kurt Busch is around. Biffle just slammed the Roush cars into the outside wall off turn 4. And actually, it was Rusty Wallace who went for a spin behind everybody. And into the inside wall goes Rusty Wallace, rear end first. Cars scattering around. Casey Kane goes for a slide as well. One car is down in the grass. And somehow Biffle has the lead through all that. But he can't pit for fuel or tires, being involved in the accident. So although he is pitting now, this is not for fuel or tires. He will have to go to the back after getting sandwiched 3 wide between Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch. I think Rusty Wallace spun out behind everybody else, but considering that Kevin Harvick and a few others went for a spin, Kurt Busch spun too. I think I have to include myself involved in that accident. Because we definitely got squeezed into the wall and into Busch on the outside from Gordon. Even though we were in an uncomfortable situation, 3 wide middle, and it really wasn't our fault. Gordon was the one who got tight on the bottom. I got to keep the consistency in the rules. Kansas Fan 17, welcome to the stream. Everybody still has to pit 2 more times. Nobody pit during that last caution flag. So it's still a 2-stop race to the finish. Plenty of time for Biffle to get back into this one. It's Jeff Gordon who leads this race now. Biffle's led a lot of laps today. I wonder if he's going to be able to clinch the most laps led at any point in this race. He's going to let the 171 car underneath him in the middle of turns 3 and 4 because Biffle really needs to draft with somebody. Sorry, that's the 177 of Lonnie McKinney. There are a lot of cars on the lead lap right now. I think every car's on the lead lap. I don't believe anybody's a lap down. Had 5 cautions in this race so far. Quarter tank of gas left for Biffle. He's definitely used up a lot of his tires with being involved in that last accident. So when he comes to pit road, it's going to be interesting if he makes it a 2-tire stop again or if it'll be back to a 4-tire stop. Biffle gets around McKinney down the back stretch. He's close enough to now draft behind the 45 car of Kyle Petty. Saw some sparks flying in the pack up ahead as there may have been contact. Biffle to the inside of Petty into the trioval. He tries to make his way through this pack as much as he can. He's going to have to do it cleanly, though. That's the thing. Kyle McCoy on the bottom, right in front of Biffle. That's one of the generator drivers. There's the 192, still without a hood. And he's bottoming out. He's still got a lot of damage on the race car after flipping earlier in the race. Another spot for Biffle. McCoy with a block on the backstretch. Biffle halfway down to the apron. No penalty. No penalty in this game. On the inside of the 109. Couldn't clear him, though, off of turn 4. Side drafted him in the trioval. Close quarters racing at Daytona all night long. With 70 laps to go, Biffle trying to come from 40th place and get back into this as quickly as he can. He's only 4.9 seconds off the lead with less than 70 to go. 3 wide off of turn 2 up in front of him. I have to imagine we're going to see some cars pulling onto pit road pretty soon. Nobody that time. Probably all hoping for another caution. 3 wide into the trioval. Biffle getting dicey with it. Trying to get 2 spots back there and does. And now he's on the inside of the 43 car of Jeff Green in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Might have to drop back in line behind him again. I'm not entirely sure. He's still on the inside. They side draft each other, though. It's definitely holding them both back. Biffle will clear him into turn 3. Another surge of momentum for the Biff behind the 31 of Robbie Gordon. Definitely don't want to be involved in an accident with cars trying to pull off onto pit road. Biffle does not want to get thrown off strategy. One car in the wall in the tri-oval. I think it was Jeff Green behind Biffle. Biffle on the inside, gaining a ton of positions right now, and has already moved his way back up to 29th. And he's underneath of Wimmer in the 22 car for 28th. Michael Waltrip's really falling back. He was in the top 5 early in the race. Gordon, who leads the way. I think Gordon's goal at the end of this race to get to within 1 race worth of points going into the final 10 races of the year. Between Dale Jr. and Greg Biffle, they want to come out with the points lead at the end of this one. 1 point separates the two of them. They both led laps in today's race. Biffle got to get blocked by Waltrip, Jr.'s teammate, middle of the pack. Right front starting to wear out on the 16. Definitely going to change right sides under this next pit stop, but we'll see if he'll go right sides only again. They go 4 tires later. Waltrip thinking about going 3 wide underneath Ricky Craven and Joe Nemechek. He is 3 wide with him. And it sounds like we've got some cars pitting this time. Off of turn 4, quite a few of them. Led by Rusty Wallace towards the front of the pack. And actually some cars pitted a little bit ago. Big block by Joe Nemechek. Right on the 16. Loosened himself up in the middle of the tri-oval. Surprised he didn't turn himself. Gives a massive shot to the back of Ricky Craven. 2 of them going into turn 3. Trying to get as much of this time back as possible. Craven stays out of the pits this time off of turn 4. A lot of cars did, actually. Couple laps away from lap 100. Biffle gets by Craven that time on the backstretch. It's up to 14th, but a lot of cars that were in front of him had pit. A little bit of a stack up, it looked like, into turn 3. Biffle finds himself on the outside. Kenny moved up right in front of him. Or sorry, that's Mike Lockhart. The 192 moved up right in front of him. Biffle to the inside. 3 wide, middle of the tri-oval. Going to be 3 wide into turn 1, still on the bottom. Up to 11th. Oh, contact. Mears and Biffle still side by side. Mears wanted to pit that last time. I don't think he's going to be able to. Biffle can't pit. He's stuck 3 wide middle off of turn 4. Biffle has to stay out 1 more lap. Casey Mears will lead his first lap of the race that time by. Biffle drafts behind Mears into turn 1. The 41 and the 16 having to go a lot longer than everybody else. Mears almost into the back of a lap car, and Biffle's out of gas on the back straightaway. I think Casey Mears is also. Oh, problematic for Greg Biffle and Casey Mears. They are both out of fuel. They got stuck on the outside or middle lane off of turn 4 the lap prior. And coasting it now down onto pit road is both of them. Biffle's still going to make sure he doesn't lock the tires up as he makes it in. He's going to go no tires. And he's just going to top off on fuel. He was going to take 2, but running out of fuel middle of the backstretch, he decided to go no tires to try and save as much time as possible. 10.4 second pit stop for Biffle. Here he comes out onto the racetrack. He is in the lead for now. Here comes Gordon. He had to get out of the way. Same thing with Harvick. A lot of time gained, though, with the fuel only stop, nevertheless, for Greg Biffle. Jeff Gordon leads, but Biffle's up to second again. Just imagine if he didn't run out of fuel, though, he would probably have the lead. And even though he's in second, he's now about 3+ seconds off the lead of Jeff Gordon. 3 wide behind Biffle into turn 3 between Labonte, Harvick, and Newman. They are getting stacked up big time right now. Oh, Biffle! In the wall, he had a little contact on the left rear after nearly pulling down on top of Bobby Labonte. Now can he hold on old tires, though, also? More than 4.5 seconds ahead. Biffle with a big run into turn 3. Gets around Newman. Drafts behind Jarrett. Jarrett up to second. Oh boy, big block. Biffle just squeezed himself into the wall. Labonte gonna go wide. Biffle up to third. Reds Country, welcome to the stream. So the thing with taking no tires, Biffle definitely going to have to take right sides on the next stop. The window should open in about another 20 laps or so. About 35 laps is the window for Greg Biffle to make it on fuel to the end of this race. Both of his front tires in the yellow right now going fuel only to try and gain track position, and it had moved him up to second. He's now back to third. Or he's gained track position with it and just trying to stay in the draft behind Dale Jarrett right now. He's ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's the big thing. And as of right now, I think he has led the most laps, although Jeff Gordon could be fastly approaching him considering how much Gordon has led really the second half of this race. But it looks like Jarrett and Biffle in the draft maybe a little quicker than Gordon, which they should be with Gordon being by himself. Even though he does have a really, really fast race car. Biffle with a massive bump draft to the back of the 88 of Jarrett. Gains about another 0.2 of a second on the back straightaway alone that time. Look at how much the 88 and the 16 have pulled away from the 18 on back. I don't think the cautions are done yet. I'd be shocked if we had 5 yellows in this race total and we go over the last 70 laps, green flag to the finish. On 2 pit stops nonetheless, too. Biffle may have to gamble and go right sides only under the next stop if he can't close in on Gordon interval-wise before that. Comment in the chat down below. Do you guys think we are going to see another caution in this race? The final 54 laps. I think we will. Be interesting to see if it's going to be within the range to make it on fuel to the end or not. There's definitely the field has gotten spaced apart following the most recent green flag pit stops. Not by a whole lot. Really, from 4th on back, they're really not spaced apart. Oh, well, there it is. That answers it. Caution's out at lap 108. Trouble off of turn 4 towards the back of the pack. Scott Riggs, it looks like. Or actually, no, it's the 175 car. Goes for a lazy spin after contact with Ricky Craven. And I think the 41 of Casey Mears is able to keep it off of him. So caution's out. That is the caution that Greg Biffle needed. They are not in the window to make it to the end, and we will have a restart following our 6th yellow of the race with around 50 laps to go. Oh boy. Gordon's big lead is now gone. Green flag back in the air. Biffle to the inside of Jarrett on the restart. He's going for it all into turn 1 underneath Jeff Gordon in the 24. Biffle has the lead in the middle of turns 1 and 2. What a move! From 3rd to 1st and a quarter of a lap on the restart. Single file restart at that, but now Jarrett gets to the inside. Labonte 3 wide in the middle with Kurt Busch on the inside and Gordon on the outside. Biffle trying to hang on to 2nd place as Jarrett gets to the lead after Biffle initially nailed the restart. Ended up in the end being Dale Jarrett, though. And as they are 3 wide, contact around goes Busch. Busch nearly spins off of turn 4 as they scatter around him. Labonte and Gordon squeeze the 97 car, and it's a 2-car breakaway now at the front of the field. Biffle almost lost the draft of Dale Jarrett. No caution as we stay green. And if it stays green for a while to the end of this race, is it just going to be a 2-car race between Jarrett and Biffle? Biffle with the run into 3, can't pass it up. And he will take it away from Dale Jarrett on the old tires. Unbelievable turn of events. And now Jarrett's in the wall off turn 4, and Biffle will pole him on the front stretch. Sometimes you just get lucky. That's the kind of luck needed to win at Daytona. Especially for myself, knowing I have 0 luck here on the EA Sports games in the Cup Series. I won 1 Busch race at Daytona. That's the only race I've ever won at Daytona on an EA Sports video game. It was our Busch Series season opener. The next 2 Busch races in that or the next Busch race, I should say, at Daytona in that season, I finished a lap down. In 16th, if I remember correctly. A lot easier for Biffle to block 1 car. Labonte actually got through there with very little damage. Biffle really stalled his momentum out quite a bit. Getting a little loose into turn 1 that last time. Jarrett just got the wall off turn 2, though. That might have allowed Biffle to hold on to the lead after all that. It has definitely caused Bobby Labonte to close in again. Labonte's on the inside of Jarrett. That pack is definitely closing in again. Labonte is clear in second. Jarrett back underneath him off of turn 4. A couple of former champs against the driver going for his first championship this season. 45 laps to go now in this race. Well, my next question for you guys, will we see another caution in this race? Last time I asked you guys, we had a caution immediately after I asked you. Jarrett on the top. Labonte goes with Biffle on the bottom. It's going to stall Jarrett's run out on the outside, knowing that there's nobody else in this lead pack right now, and Biffle will hold on to the lead into turn 3. Remember, it was Labonte who had a chance to win an exhibition race at Daytona earlier this season in the Bud Shootout. Gave a little bump draft to Biffle that time. Biffle couldn't hold it, and he got in the wall. Labonte led on the last lap into turn 3, and the Bud Shootout ended up flipping, and a big one in the middle of 3 and 4 coming to the checkered flag. Jarrett in the wall off turn 2. Ryan Newman tried to go up the middle. Labonte went low, and then he realized I did not want to be 3 wide and had to go and block Newman before he put his car in the middle. Newman had help from his teammate Rusty Wallace. Well, I think this might be the first time we've seen both Penske cars up at the front of the field at the same time. Jarrett in the wall off turn 4. We're going to have another wreck again real soon here. The aggressiveness has not let up. No matter how many cautions we seem to get in this one. We've had one big one involving 8 cars earlier in the race. It was our 3rd yellow, 2 flips in that same accident. Jimmy Johnson, who has not led all day, is on the inside of Labonte for second and maybe going for the lead on Biffle on the backstretch. He doesn't have any help on the bottom behind him now. Now Newman pulls out of line to go with JJ. 16 down in front of the 48. Labonte in the wall. Contact with Jimmy Johnson. I think Biffle got a piece of the wall too, but it wasn't because of contact with anybody. He's on old tires. My goodness. Biffle can't wait to get to the next pit stop. Remember, Biffle's pit crew lost him 5 spots on pit road earlier in the race when everybody pitted during the second caution. It took Biffle a while to get back to the lead. Newman into the wall, giving his teammate Rusty Wallace second place off of turn 4 as the pack charges again. Both Penske cars on the outside of Wallace and Newman. Biffle blocks the bottom. Oh, wow, he really overdrove that corner. That's going to give Jarrett the lead easily. Newman got really loose that time. This car wiggled quite a bit. Jarrett out in front. Under the lights at Daytona. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Couple of the Hendrick cars, Johnson and Gordon up high. Dale Jr.'s back in it again after being silent for about the last 20 laps or so. Really since this last restart. He's looking to get back into 5th as Biffle hangs on for 3rd rather. Behind Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett. Newman to the inside of Craig Biffle for 3rd. So again, leaving the bottom open. Slides down in front of Dale Jr. 3 wide between Johnson, Gordon, and Labonte. Middle of the backstretch. Biffle drafts behind Newman into turns 3 and 4 on the outside. Biffle doesn't want to be up high. Wallace has caught Jarrett, and they're side by side for the lead off of turn 4. 39 laps to go in the Florida 400. Big run coming for the 16. He gets to the inside of the 12. Side by side still for the lead between Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace. Biffle to the outside. Drafts behind Jarrett. Wallace is easily clear off turn 2. Newman's back to third, crossing over on the 16 of Biffle. Biffle again cuts underneath the 12 of Ryan Newman. Middle of the back straightaway. He's going for second on Dale Jarrett. Gets tight in the middle of the corner on the old tires after taking fuel only during a green flag pit stop in the middle of this fuel run. Into the wall, off 4, contact with Newman on the bottom. Newman falls back in line in 4th in front of Dale Jr. And Wallace is getting away. Rusty Wallace 1.1 seconds ahead. Jarrett to the inside of Biffle, who's struggling to get his car to turn on the old tires. Window nearly open to the end of the race. In about 2 more laps, it will be open to make it on fuel to the finish. Jarrett back to second. He's had a fast car. Dale Jr. to 4th, passing Ryan Newman, but Newman is back underneath him into turn 1. Greg Biffle drafts behind Dale Jarrett in the 88, and that right front tire is in the red. And that tire indicator that just flashed on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. A lot of wear on a bumpy track at Daytona. Is lifting quite a bit on entry into the corner just to try to keep the car from wanting to walk all the way up the track. It still walks most of the way up the track. Newman is underneath Biffle now for 3rd. Big run. Biffle's going for 2nd into turn 1. Gets around Jarrett. And stayed in front of Ryan Newman as well. A big time move by Biffle. Oh, big block on Jarrett. Coming to 35 laps to go this time by. Biffle wiggles off of turn 4. He's in the wall. Caught a bit of that apron off of turn 4, and he is holding this pack up. Blocks Jr. on the inside for 3rd. Jamie McMurray back in the mix after being involved in an accident early in the race. A lot of cars pit that last time by. 3 wide off turn 2 as Jr. and Newman split. Biffle, who's on old tires, pinched on the outside for now. We get down in front of Jr. though, back to the bottom behind Newman into turn 3. A lot of the leaders stay out again. Penske 1-2 at the front of the field. Wallace in 1st. Ryan Newman 2nd. Goes way up the racetrack. Yeah, that window's definitely open to the end of the race. Greg Biffle's about to try to short pit versus the rest of the field here. And he's going to take right side tires only. Lifts off of turn 4, still gets into the wall, but it's going to be right sides only for Greg Biffle. Oh, he locked the tires up quite a bit, trying not to speed onto pit road. That is a very, very interesting call right there. Change of mind. It's going to be 4 tires. I didn't want to risk it. I locked the tires up coming into the pits. 4 tire stop for Greg Biffle. It was going to be right sides only, but he locked the tires up coming into the pit lane, and he didn't want to risk it. I don't know what that camera angle was. But this is a very slow stop. 19.4 seconds for Greg Biffle. Down on the bottom of the racetrack, here comes Jeff Gordon. Kurt Busch is coming. Sadler, Johnson. Rusty Wallace, the race leader, not there yet. Greg Biffle on the bottom of the racetrack just trying to get up to speed. He's going to try to pull up in front of Rusty Wallace. Wallace is the leader, but that's not going to work. He couldn't get up in front of him in time. Contact with the lap car now of Don Evans. That contact really stalled Biffle out coming off of the pit lane. Biffle in 35th, but he is 1 lap down right now after short pitting. This is problematic if the caution comes out again. Big block on Newman into turn 1. Wallace is 3 wide middle right now in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Harvick up to 3rd. Rusty Wallace is definitely, though, getting held up by lap cars. Newman in the wall off turn 4. Biffle knows he's got fresher tires now, so he probably doesn't have to worry about his car getting extremely tight to the end of the race. Two days before your golf tournament, if it doesn't rain Sunday morning, tournament starts at 9 a.m. Well, good luck. I'm in a golf scramble myself the weekend before Memorial Day. Something for our work. Earnhardt Jr. on the outside, Ryan Newman up high. Kevin Harvick to the inside. I think he's pitting this time. Rusty Wallace stays on the track. Biffle slides between the 8 and the 12. Dale Jr. to 2nd. Biffle has to draft with him, though. He needs to find a way to gain time, one way or another. We have just 29 laps to go. Biffle to the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He'll clear him. Into turn 3. Oh, Harvick was going to pit that last time by. He didn't pit like I thought he was going to. Biffle's not the first car 1 lap down anymore, by the way. Jimmy Johnson was already pitted. Now some of these lap cars also coming off of pit road or for position for Biffle. And they're going a lap down as well. If we end up seeing the yellow, this is going to work against the Biff. 75 car coming out of the pit lane on the bottom of the racetrack. Biffle will get around him and be able to pull back down to the bottom clear. Biffle does not want to get stuck a lap down. And it is 3 wide off of turn 4 right now. They made it that time. Harvick got around Biffle on the outside off 4. Funnel down to side-by-side behind Biffle. They're no longer 3 wide for the time being. Harvick is up to second place now, trying to run down Wallace. So everybody running the outside. Even though Biffle's not tight anymore and can run the outside with fresher tires, still not the lane he wants to run because he knows it's not that quick. Jeff Green going to be in the free pass position. Actually, never mind. It'll still be Jimmy Johnson, I believe. And Rusty Wallace is into pit this time. Kenseth will be the leader at the line. Biffle back on the lead laps. Drafting with Harvick into turn 3. Drafted with him as long as he could. Now hops in line on the outside behind Jeff Green, and he did that so that way he could carry as much speed in the draft as possible before Harvick pit. And that gives the lead to Dale Jr. once again. Not sure what Junior's strategy is here, staying out like this. It's risky if a caution comes out. Bobby Gordon for position. I think those 80-degree days you were talking about is what I'm going to be getting the next couple days. I wasn't here for it, but I guess it snowed at my house on Monday. According to my family that was still in Gibsonburg, I was on my way back from Bristol. So I didn't get to see it myself. There is a little bit of snow still left on the ground. Greg Biffle going to choose to pull out a line in the middle of the tri-oval on Jeff Green. He'll hop in line behind another Dodge, it looks like, of Brendan Gaughan in the 77. There's another pass for position. In case we get a late caution, he's going to need as many of these spots for position as possible. Looking to get to the inside of the 41 car now of Casey Mears. Joe Nemechek just pulled up right in to Greg Biffle, which ricocheted the 77 into the wall as Nemechek threw a big block coming off of the pit lane at a slow-rated pace on Biffle. Dale Jr. coming off of pit road right now. I doubt he's going to be able to hold on to the lead, but we'll see. Biffle's in 19th right now. That was definitely a slow pit stop for his crew. It was about 19 seconds. He's in danger of losing the draft from Joe Nemechek right now. Seemed like there was some contact somewhere up the way. Rusty Wallace back in the lead. We need to alternate through different camera angles for the first time in today's race as we get down to the wire. Just 22 laps to go in this race. Biffle is in 19th and not in a great position right now. He has lost the draft from Nemechek after Nemechek pulled up in front of him after leaving pit road. So Biffle runs the outside through turns 1 and 2. He's only about 5.5 seconds off the race lead. Casey Mears to the inside. Biffle will pull in line behind him on the back straightaway. .7 seconds off the lead, but in 20th place is Greg Biffle. Every position matters. Knowing Dale Jr. is likely going to have a good finish in this race, Biffle comes in with a 1-point lead over him. Just 10 races to go following this one. Biffle has led in points for all but one race this season. And that was race number 18 that Dale Jr. led in points for. Biffle took it back after one race of not having it. Casey Mears riding the bottom in the middle of the corners right now. Biffle working with him. Got out of the gas into 3 to make sure Mears was going to get down to the bottom in front of him again. Mears is closing on the 0-1 of Nemechek. Hopefully that loss of momentum by lifting that time for Biffle isn't going to cost him. Biffle to the inside of Mears into turn 1. Right in line behind Joe Nemechek now in the 0-1. Casey Mears is still on the outside of the 16 of Biffle. Little contact on the back straightaway as Biffle really forced himself in front of Mears. That was very, very gutsy move by Biffle. Is now about 4.9 seconds off the lead as he continues to drop behind Nemechek in 19th. Oh, he just got tight though in the middle of turns 1 and 2 in the dirty air behind Nemechek. He's back in line behind him. Needs a big push from Casey Mears though if he's going to want a shot to potentially get around Nemechek. Into turn 3. This is a big run for Biffle. He makes the pass on Nemechek. And drops behind Waltrip now to 18th. Biffle's going to have to basically pass about a car a lap if he's going to want to win this race. In 20th place late. Looking to get around Waltrip there. Didn't happen. On the inside lane, he'll just drop behind Waltrip. Dale Jarrett, who had a great car late, has really fallen back after the second set of green flag stops during this current run. I guess, well, that's not even correct either. Biffle looks low. Waltrip with a block. Biffle just going to bump draft Waltrip down the backstretch. He didn't want to lift. He hit him square. That's going to launch both Waltrip and Biffle past the rookie Brian Vickers. To 16th. And this run in the tri-oval for Biffle. Looks underneath Waltrip. Bit of contact. Caution's out. Caution is out. 15 to go. I don't know if Waltrip was the caution or not. Following the contact. Oh, it was. Oh, man, you hate to see it. I didn't realize that Biffle knocked Waltrip that far around when they made contact. He just wrecked the 15 car. Wow, late yellow in this one. Well, that was accidental. This is going to get Biffle less laps to try and get up there, and he's been hit or miss on the restarts today. I'm not surprised Waltrip lost control considering the contact on this fast of a racetrack. That caution definitely hurt Greg Biffle because he was moving along pretty good before then. Now he only has 13 laps to go, and he's still in 15th on the restart. So the green flag is back in the air again. Biffle did not take off well on that restart. He gets around Casey Kane, but that was pretty much about it. They're 3 wide behind him right now. Kane moves back down in front of him, and that is not a caution Greg Biffle wanted to see. Well, we did have the big one earlier in the race. We may have another one now that the field's stacked up again, 3 by 3. Behind Greg Biffle at least. Big block by Nemechek. He nearly wrecks himself off the front of the 16 of Biffle. And that might have costed Biffle a chance to stick with Casey Kane in the 9 car to try and get some sort of drafting help. Yeah, he's lost him. Biffle moves high in the middle of turns 3 and 4. He wants Mears to move underneath him. It's a spot lost for Biffle, but he needed to do that to try and fall back in line and get some sort of drafting help working for him again. 11 laps to go at Daytona, and time is ticking right now for Greg Biffle. Rusty Walsh is trying to hold on. It's aggressive pack right behind him. We'll have 10 laps to go this time by. There it is, 10 to go. Biffle pulls out of line on Mears. It might have been a little early, though. He'll get around him, but he's not quite close enough behind Ricky Rudd in the 21, I don't believe, to be able to draft off of him. They are 3 wide in front of Rudd right now. Casey Mears in line behind Greg Biffle. Car on the outside. Mears. Biffle gets into him. Biffle's battled Casey Mears so much in the late going here. Back to 2.8 seconds off the lead again. He just made the move too early. He wasn't quite close enough behind Ricky Rudd to stay in the draft behind him. Quickly back to about 2.6 seconds. That's pretty much one pack with the top 14, and then Mears and Biffle in the second group. Really only Brian Vickers behind him, just trying to close in. Everybody that was 3 by 3 behind Biffle on that restart definitely couldn't keep up. Eight laps to go. Will we stay green to the finish? We've had 7 cautions in the race today. That caution hurt Biffle. He has not only 3 less green flag laps to make the passes, but he also didn't have a good restart. Now he moves to the inside of Mears. He's definitely close enough to draft behind Rudd this time. But the problem is he's going to get underneath Ricky Rudd, it looks like, for position into the corner as well. Going way up the track to block Rudd. That's going to leave Casey Mears to get by on the bottom. Mears actually more of a benefit that Biffle got around Rudd than Biffle got around Mears. Biffle ended up losing that spot to Mears anyway. 6.5 laps to go at Daytona. Biffle again pulling out of line, middle of the back straightaway. Trying to cling onto the draft of Elliott Sadler into turn 3. But again, I think he made the move too early. Contact with Mears, that's not going to help either. Again, into the wall. They just cannot keep it off each other right now. Biffle's tight. Mears again gets around, but at a much quicker pace, and I don't know if Biffle's going to be able to stay with him. Mears running the middle of the upper groove in turn 3. Kevin Harvick is just taking the lead at the line. 5 laps to go. Harvick looking for his second win of the year. His only win was at Talladega under the lights in the last super speedway race. Mears continues to run the top though, and that's not where Biffle wants him to go. Four laps down for Harvick. If the caution comes out at any point, the race is going to end. Mears just keeps going to the outside. The right front tire's starting to wear out on Biffle. Biffle bump traps Mears on the back straightaway. A little bit into turn 3. At this point, with 3 to go, Biffle's hoping that he just catches the back of this lead draft. It maybe lucks his way into a top 10. Go back to the far chase cam for the final 2 laps of the race. Problem is, I don't think Mears and Biffle are going to catch the lead pack running the outside. But with Mears being the control car in this draft, there's really nothing Biffle can do about it. Other than just sit behind him. He can pass him, but then he's just not going to be faster on his own to get around him anyway. Two to go this time by for Kevin Harvick to try and get his second win of the season. And win each of the last 2 super speedway races on this Cup Series season. And Biffle is in danger of losing a points lead once again. For just the second time this year, it'll be with just 10 races to go on the season. Junior is in front of him. I'm not sure if Biffle led the most laps or not in this race today. It was close, but I'm not entirely sure if he got it. Biffle's going to stay behind Mears on the backstretch right now. He's going to give him a big bump draft. He was not square when he hit him, but they held on to it. Into turns 3 and 4. Biffle wants to go to the inside of Mears. It was probably too early, but he didn't know if he was going to have another run to at least get by the 14. That was for 14th place. He's definitely not going to let Mears back in front of him again. He's too far behind to draft Labonte into turns 1 and 2. So Biffle will just go high off of turn 2 to block Casey Mears in the 41 and hold on for 14th place. Kevin Harvick at the front of the field. Less than a half a lap to go to win his second race of the season. And as the leaders head into turn 3 for the final time, it'll be Harvick leading the way in the 29 car for Richard Childress Racing. And now off of turn 4, checkered flag waves. Kevin Harvick is going to win his second race of the 2004 season. Biffle with another finish outside the top 10 on a super speedway, finishing 14th today. Rookie Casey Kane finishes second, just a tenth of a second on the back bumper of Harvick coming across the checkered flag. Tony Stewart finishes third, Ryan Newman fourth. Dale Jr. gets another top 5 this season, and he'll take over the points lead for the second time this year. 7 laps led for Jr. today, so he did receive 5 bonus points as well. Kurt Busch finishes in 6th, Ken's at 7th. Rusty Walls fell back to 8th after losing the lead with 6 to go. Jamie McMurray 9th, and Jeff Gordon rounds out the top 10. Biffle led the most laps today. He led 49 laps, so 10 bonus points for him despite a 14th place finish. So 10 bonus points to 5, but he finished 9 positions behind Dale Jr., so Jr. will have the points lead with 10 races to go on the season. Let's take a look at who all DNF'd. Jeremy Lane had DNF'd in this race. Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, and those were the only 3 drivers who failed to finish. Don Evans at the very end of the race, I guess, blew an engine as well. So 4 drivers failed to finish this race today. 39 of them finished, and all of them finished on the lead lap. 7 cautions for 21 caution laps, 30 lead changes, 2 hours, 48 minutes total time on tonight's race. Man, that is disappointing. I just can't do it, man. I cannot get good finishes on the super speedways in the Cup Series in this game. I mean, in any series I struggle, but the Cup Series I struggle the most. $2.99 super chat from Tim Irvin. Thank you. Is that a thumbs up emoji? At least we tried. GFS Marketplace 400 at Michigan will be tomorrow night on the channel. That's the best part about this season, is we don't have to wait long for the next race. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday night at Michigan. That will be our next live stream of this game on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. 10 races to go on the season. We're about to see what the points lead is. We know Dale Jr. is the points leader. Jeff Gordon would have gained on Biffle today, getting a top 10, but he would have lost points to Dale Jr. And that was definitely action-packed, and we could not stay out of the carnage, unfortunately. Once we got back in traffic that last time, it was just too much to overcome. 28 points off the lead right now. Jeff Gordon's now 196 back in third after gaining on Biffle, but again, he lost points total with Jr. taking the points lead away from Biffle, even though Gordon had a good top 10 run. And led a lot of laps, too. He led the second most laps at 37 led today. Again, Biffle led 49, leading the most. Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm going to look at his stats real quick this year, just telling you guys, outside of the fact that he has 1 win, just how consistent Biffle has been. Biffle's been good this season. Obviously, he's been consistent. He's only had 3 DNFs. I think this is our 8th finish outside the top 10 this year. Well, I'm about to find out, actually. Let me look up the season stats. Alrighty. So that was win number 2 for Kevin Harvick. So Greg Biffle has 12 wins, 16 top 5s, 18 top 10s this year. Dale Jr. has 18 top 5s with 1 win, 19 top 10. So he has 2 more top 5s than us, 1 more top 10 than us, 11 less wins. But I mean, that's the difference. The big difference is the finishes that we've had outside the top 10 compared to Dale Jr. So in 26 races, we finished outside the top 10 8 times. 3 of those we DNF'd, the other 3 we did not. Dale Jr. only has 2 DNFs this year versus 3 for us. Again, 1 less finish outside the top 10. Or sorry, 1 more finish in the top 10 and 2 more in the top 5. I mean, that's the difference. I don't even think the finishes outside the top 10 is a big difference. I think it's just we DNF'd 1 more time than Dale Jr. this season is the big difference. And you wonder if Dale Jr. will have a 3rd DNF in the final 10 races of the season, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, will be the next one at Michigan. Now I see why they changed the points. Why? Because of how far. It is definitely only it's a 3. I'm including Gordon in there. Especially if Biffle DNFs a 4th time this year and Junior DNFs again, Gordon's going to be right there with us. You could score as many as 190 points in one race. And even if a couple finishes outside the top 10 for Biffle and Earnhardt and Gordon goes on a hot streak, Gordon has had good stats this year too. Gordon has 4 wins, 11 top 5s, and this was his 19th top 10. So Gordon's actually got just as many top 10s as Dale Jr., but he has 7 less top 5s, which is why he's as far back. Top 5, 500 points away. Yeah, it's definitely a 3-horse race right now. Consistency is key with 10 races to go. Who knows what's going to happen, though? Points battles make races fun. Yeah, and I mean, we're keeping a close eye on it. What a battle, though, between... The only 2 drivers to lead in points this year have been Dale Jr. and Greg Biffle. It has been the 2 most dominant seasons by both of these guys this year, and yet only one of us is going to win the championship. This is like F1 of last season. This is basically what it is, but it's on NASCAR 05. We'll see. We'll see. This is the 2nd time Biffle's been outside of the points lead this year. And I believe this is further back than what we were the first time. I think the first time we were outside the points lead, we were only 17 points back. Now we're 28 back. So this is the biggest points deficit we've had this season. But we'll see if we can come back. Last time, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys tomorrow night at 8 at Michigan for this 05 season. Also, Talladega Cup race will be commentated live on the channel on Sunday afternoon. You won't want to miss that as well. Live commentary. 2:30 pre-race, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the coverage of the Geico 500 at Talladega. The actual Cup race live on the channel right here. So thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys again tomorrow night.